Hey everybody, welcome to the Duce Raymond Podcast. I'm Duce Raymond, your host, and I just wanted to take a few minutes to introduce the podcast. A lot of you guys might know me from our online barbecue educational content that we do, Barbecue Like a Boss. We do stuff on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube Shorts. We thought it would be a great idea to start a podcast so we can continue the conversation, talk to some experts about barbecue, entrepreneurship, hospitality, all the things that I'm really interested in, and really get some more information to you guys. If you want to dig a little deeper, this will be a great place to learn some more. So really excited to start the podcast. We're going to have some great conversations. We've already recorded some episodes, so I'm really excited to share those with you. A little bit about me is I really grew up in and around the culinary world because my dad was a chef by training. So I started working in restaurants when I was young, like 14 years old. Even before that, my dad was teaching me how to flip omelets. Like I remember when I was 7 years old, he'd have a saute pan and I'd put a little towel in the pan and he would show me how to flip the towel. And then I would graduate to scrambled eggs and then over easy eggs. So at an early age, I was into food for sure. And I thought, I looked up to my dad. He was like a tough guy and I wanted to have that connection with him. So I was into what he was doing. As I got a little older, I realized that the industry is really challenging. My dad was working nights and weekends and he wasn't really around all the time. As I kind of finished up high school, I told myself I wasn't going to be in the culinary world or hospitality industry because I didn't want to work all the time, nights and weekends and holidays. But that was short-lived because I went to college for the first year, kind of gen eds, and really decided that was not for me either. So I moved out to Utah with some buddies, and the only thing I had experience was in the culinary world. So I got a job at a California cuisine restaurant with a really cool chef, Roseanne Ruiz, and we worked at the Sage Grill. And it was kind of like right in the junction. So all the ski resorts in Park City, Utah, kind of met together at this junction before you went down to Salt Lake. And it was a really cool place to work. I learned so much there. And it was working with ingredients I hadn't worked before. They had fresh fish flown in from Hawaii. We went to the farmers markets and worked with so many really nice organic fresh ingredients. And I worked the grill station, and it was an open kitchen. So some of the people could sit at the bar right in front of us, and that was just a really cool experience. It taught me how to work clean and work efficiently. And Roseanne, the chef, she was really hard on me, but it really kind of accelerated what I was already into. My dad, I learned a lot from my dad. I was 19, 20 at the time, but she really put a lot of pressure. She saw talent in me, I believe, and she put pressure on me to really do good. And I worked the grill station, so I really enjoyed that experience. And then during that time, the 2002 Winter Olympics were out there and got to cook for a lot of the athletes. The Jamaican bobsled team was there. It was so cool. They sat right in front of me and, just a really neat experience. And then shortly after that, 9/11 happened. So I didn't want to be that far away from my family anymore. Didn't have enough money to fly home for the holidays, and I was kind of getting homesick. So I was out there for about 9 months and then went back home to Wisconsin and really made that decision that I wanted to go into the culinary arts. So shortly after that, I moved to Chicago, lived with Aunt Kathy and Uncle Dave, went to Kendall College, and I couldn't have had a better experience there. Kendall was an amazing time. I met my wife there, Sarah, so that was really cool. Just met a lot of really cool people, worked with some amazing chefs that I still connect with today. The dean was Chef Christopher Ketke, and I'm working with him on a project for developing a sugar-free barbecue sauce right now. So that's the part of college. College these days gets a little bit of flack for being overpriced and maybe not necessary all the time. But I think what's not put in that equation is the relationships that you build from being in college. And that's something that I've taken away with it. Still have a relationship with Kendall now. We have interns that come from Kendall. As I was finishing the first 2 years at Kendall, they started their bachelor degree program, which most culinary schools are associate's degree, and very few had a bachelor degree program. So when I was finishing up, getting ready to graduate, I was all excited, start my career, and they rolled out this bachelor degree program, and Wasn't really excited about it, but I was basically bribed by my dad and my uncle to stay in culinary school, get more educated. They always said, you'll always have time to work, which they were right. And that second 2 years of culinary school was even better because they really didn't actually know what they were doing for this program. So they stuck a lot of money into it. And we worked with chefs from all over the world. And it was just every single ingredient you could imagine, different cooking techniques with these different chefs. And it was truly an amazing experience and kind of solidified like my position on barbecue. Really is like I'm super passionate about barbecue, but now what I really like to do is fuse international flavor profiles with traditional barbecue techniques, and that's to me super exciting. There's so much you can do there, and I'm passionate about it. So that's something that I'll continue to do once we get into more restaurants and stuff. I'm excited to put some of that stuff on the menu because I think there's a lot of goodness and uniqueness in different cultures, different flavors with those smoked meats. I think something that can't be beat. That's how I got started in the culinary world. And now in the last 15 years, while I was still in school, my uncle and my dad, so in 2000, they sold Sweet Baby Ray's. When they sold Sweet Baby Ray's, we retained the rights to use the name for restaurants and catering. And in 2005, we opened the first Sweet Baby Ray's restaurant in Wooddale, Illinois. Small barbecue restaurant, homemade sides, authentically smoked meats, had way more stuff on the menu than we should have. I probably still do. Really learned along the way. I tell people we've made all the mistakes. So I hope to, through the podcast and through some of the stuff we do online, hopefully I could stop some people from making some of the same mistakes I did because it was tough. It was tough for a lot of years. We thought just with the name Sweet Baby Ray's, things, could potentially be easy, but it didn't end up being that way. At one point, we had up to 3 restaurants. We had the Wooddale restaurant, the Elk Grove restaurant, and a Wrigleyville restaurant. Wrigleyville didn't last very long. The Elk Grove restaurant just closed due to COVID pretty much, and my uncle's business partner with the sauce, Mike O'Brien, he was pretty much done. His kids didn't really want to take over the business. I wasn't at the time interested in a full service. That was a sit-down barbecue restaurant. I wasn't interested in taking it over. Today, we have the barbecue restaurant that we started with in Wooddale and the catering business with 2 brands. We have Sweet Baby Ray's Catering, which is everything you expect it would be. It's barbecue, homemade sides, fun, interactive stations and stuff like that. And then we have True Cuisine, which is our higher end catering company. That's really where we do a lot of weddings, corporate events. We do as much business with Sweet Baby Ray's as we do with True Cuisine. We're excited about growing the business, and after that I'm working on Duce's Wild sauces and rubs and educational barbecue content, and hopefully in the not too distant future restaurants and possibly some more products as well. We're excited, and that's what we're doing today. All right, so how Sweet Baby Ray's actually got started was my Uncle Dave, was working at a pharmaceutical company filling prescriptions for nursing homes, and he was challenged to enter the Mike Ryko Rib Fest. And at the time, the Mike Ryko Rib Fest was the largest rib competition in the country. And probably, actually, I don't even know if they have a rib competition that big today. There was over 700 contestants there, which kind of is mind-boggling. But they ended up there. They did it a couple years, and then like the second or third year they did it, they ended up winning second place out of 700 contestants. And my uncle pretty much decided that he was going to quit his regular full-time job and start selling the sauce. So they actually bottled the sauce. My dad made the recipe. They entered the Rib Fest. They did really well. Uncle Dave quit his job, and then they kind of hit the ground running with absolutely no experience or knowledge of what they were doing. I mean, they had $2,000, barely a high school education, and a dream, and they were able to grow it to a $30 million brand, which is just remarkable to me. In this day and age with social media and all the tools we have at our disposal, they didn't have any of that. They had persistence, hard work, and just a drive, and knowing they had a great product, but not really knowing the ins and outs of the business. So they really had to learn along the way. And just as we're getting started with Duce's Wild, I'm like going through that process, and I'm like, how did they do this 40 years ago? It just was without any experience. It's hard for me, and I have Uncle Dave and all these connections throughout the years that I've developed and that he's developed, and it's still a challenge. So really how they were able to grow it from nothing to a $30 million brand in 20 years is just remarkable. I mean, in today's money, that's probably 60 or 80 million dollars. So it's like really unbelievable what they were able to do. They had a great product, they had a great name. People love saying Sweet Baby Ray's. It's like they hit the nail on the head. The logo's really good. They did so many things right that I couldn't, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. My dad passed away a couple years ago, and I know he was so proud to be the inventor of Sweet Baby Ray. If he walked into a room of people, he would let you know that he invented Sweet Baby Ray's. It's just so cool. Just makes me happy thinking about that, and like thinking, everyone's got their own challenges. My dad had a lot of challenges, especially at the end of his life, but remembering the good times is really important. And he was so proud, and he'd be so proud of everything we're doing now with the catering business is going so well, and how we're starting Duce's Wild and everything we're doing online. I know we had just barely started doing what we're doing now with everything on TikTok and Instagram. So he got to see a little bit of that, but he would just be blown away, I'm sure. Yeah, that's how Sweet Baby Ray's got started. And what made it work was, I think it was the word of mouth that really took off with Sweet Baby Ray's. It was everything that Uncle Dave and Mike O'Brien really put into place on the marketing side, which is interesting to me because like retail marketing is not how you and I think about marketing. Marketing for us is like, get your name out there, social media, radio ads, billboards and stuff like that. On the retail space, it's called in-store marketing. And that's the little tag that says your product is on sale. And that's what they call as marketing dollars in the retail space, which doesn't make sense to me, but that's what it is that tag catches your eye, and that's what causes you to buy a new product or a product that's on sale, or could say local. It could only be like 50 or 60 cents off, but they put that tag there so it really catches your eye. And this is day and age market. You probably noticed with stuff you buy. I know, take Starbucks coffee, for instance. It's $12.99 is the regular price for a little bag, which is crazy. But it's so regularly on sale for $6.99, which used to be the normal price. So it's like you're thinking you're getting this like 50% discount. That's how they're positioning it. And so many of the big brands are doing it that way. And that's our plan to go to market with Duce's Wild. It's called high-low pricing, and that really gets the needle to move. And it's playing on people's psychology and things like that. But that's just the way that market is done right now. So I'm super excited to be the managing partner and director of Culinary at SBR Events. And what that means to me today is it's really managing the managers, so to speak, and it's really a team environment that we built. And I wouldn't be able to do everything we're doing today, everything that we do with the educational barbecue videos, the podcast, other projects that we're working on with Duce's Wild and whatever is coming next, if we weren't able to really build and keep the team that we have in place. And, I'm really excited that we have a new executive chef, actually went to culinary school with me, Jason Herling. He is outstanding. He's really done a great job with building up the team. Our director of operations, Opie, came from another catering company that didn't make it through COVID. We've had a relationship throughout the years. I knew of him. He knew of me. We had some conversations. One of our other employees worked with him in years past, and we share an office. We work side by side. He's been so good. We're on the same page on a lot of things. And, there's also some other things that he thinks about differently than I do, which is great, But he's been a big part of letting me be able to grow and work on some of the other projects as well. And then we have our director of sales, which is Rain Anderson. She's been with us for 7 or 8 years now. She's got a ton of experience in the industry, and she manages a sales team. We have like 5 full-time salespeople, but with all the coordinators and project managers, she's got like 12 people that are direct report to her. So she's got a really big job. And then we have Elena Mercado. I always forget about her. And there's another manager too. So Elena is is truly and honestly, and she doesn't get the credit that she deserves because she's like totally behind the scenes. She actually works from Houston, Texas, and she is director of HR and director of accounting. So she holds two titles. If I didn't have her through COVID, I don't know if we'd still be in business. I mean, everything that was going on with the PPP that really helped our business stay afloat during things. I mean, there were so many things like that during COVID that she was so on top of, and she really makes a big difference. We do consistent budget meetings every single month. We have multiple at the end of the year to see how things are finishing up, and really it's one of the secrets to our success over the last 3 or 4 years has been our attention to detail and being focused on the budget and making sure to simplify things, make sure we're making more than we're spending, but there's a lot that goes into that. And Elena has done so much for me and Dave. And then our newly appointed marketing manager, Matt Capone, has been a huge part of our success on the marketing side and the social media. We've been able to build basically from nothing. I mean, it was very small following when Matt started, and we've built it to over 600,000 followers. I think we're close to 650. I did the math the other day. I don't know. We're saying 600, but I think it's close to 650. 650,000 followers in like 3 years. We get over 2 million views every single week. And we've just consistently created a program where we're putting out good content that the algorithm likes, that the people enjoy watching, they comment, they like, and we're trying to add value. We're putting the consumer first on everything we do. We're not selling stuff online. We're really trying to educate them, and then on the back end, hopefully they'll think of us when they want to buy barbecue sauce and rubs, when they want to have a catering event and everything. So we're using the jab, 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 right hook method that Gary Vee talks about. We're giving more than we're asking, and I think that's a big part of our success on the marketing side. Another part on the marketing side that I don't think we talk about enough is that we are super consistent. And, people will get into a groove where they'll do like 2 or 3 weeks where they'll post a lot or try to be a little consistent. We've been consistent for over 3 years. And I think that there's no equation where consistency, I mean, if you're on a weight loss plan, if you're on anything, consistency is what makes those things work. So just like with social media, if you want to grow a following, if you want to create more awareness for your brand, if you're posting consistently, I don't think there's anything better than that. Even if your content isn't that good, you're still going to get some motion out of consistent posting. So that's something that we take to heart. And of course, we try to make, good, entertaining, educational information as well. So that's been the secret to our success, really, is the management team. And the day-to-day for me, that's a lot of my time is spent on the marketing side of the business. I spend time with Opie every day for operations, what's going on with the staffing and everything. And then Culinary, Jason and I are constantly interacting. But what's great is, like, I don't have any super day-to-day responsibilities. I don't have to staff the kitchen or the events anymore. I don't order the food and stuff like that. So I'm able to manage. The other piece of that is the restaurant team as well. So I'm over there talking to those guys, but I'm not cooking burgers and cutting onions and stuff like that. I'm managing the managers over there and having conversations, what's working, what's not working. I'm really in a great position, and I'm lucky to be here where I'm not going out to events every single weekend anymore. I want to go on a high level, be able to talk to the employees, see the venue managers and the clients and things like that. But it's not the best use of my time anymore to be the one cooking the food on a Saturday night from 2 p.m. to 10 o'clock at night. And I'm really blessed to be in that position, but that's what's also going to allow the company to grow, is for me to keep focusing on the big picture and what's next. Really what made me take the leap on social media is during COVID, we saw there was really what happened is I started working out a lot, and I was listening to a lot of podcasts and watching a lot of content online, and Gary Vee kept on coming up on my feed all over the place. And I was convinced that he was right, that if you post consistently online, that's where the attention is. The TV replace the radio, and the phone replace the TV, and everybody's on the phone constantly, and that's where their attention is at. And if you want to have more attention, you need to be posting where the attention's at. So I was bought into what he was saying. And during COVID, we actually made a big leap and set up a call with Gary's team at the Sasha Group. And they have a program called 4Ds where you're on a call. It's like an all-day call. You go over this whole strategy. You get some time with Gary himself. And at the end, they send you a full deliverable with a playbook of what you should do and how you should do it. And that's really what was the kickoff point. Shortly after that, we brought Matt on board, and we started the show on TikTok. And that was in 2021 when not everybody was on TikTok, so there was potential to grow there. So we really hit it at a good time. If we were even like 6 months even earlier, it would have been even more to the moon, as the kids say. But we started in May of 2021 with our TikTok show called Barbecue Like a Boss, and really focused on educational barbecue content, always giving more than we're asking. Really weren't trying to sell anything, just trying to build our brand and build awareness online. And it worked. We were consistent with it. We did one a week. The first Barbecue Like a Boss was a selfie video of me telling the difference between baby back ribs and St. Louis ribs. And we've evolved so much from there. Now we have our videographer that comes every other week. We film 2 or 3 videos. She does an amazing job. Bianca, you get a shout out. And she is, just been amazing. And every time she comes with, I always give her a hard time. She's always got new tools. Like she's got a new microphone or a new camera or something sliding down. And I'm like, okay, well, let's do this week. Last week she had this little monitor she put up on the DSLR camera that showed me what the camera was looking at. So I could, like, when I hold something to camera, I could see it. So she's always coming up with, she has all her own equipment. And, that's been kind of a game changer. That took Matt out of being the main content creator and being able to be a manager, where we have a part-time content creator, we have Bianca, and then we have a couple other off-site content creators that do some editing for us. So, Matt's got his handful managing that team. But, it's really worked out well for us. And, kind of why we're having this conversation right now, why we have a podcast is because, things have been going well. We saw opportunity to really connect some more dots and continue relationship buildings. And, sometimes podcasts are, I don't want to sound like it's all about me, but it's a little selfish in a way, because I get to have these great conversations with people in the industry, people that I'm friends with, but I don't get to connect with all the time. People like Malcolm and Darren and, Matt McMillan, those guys, I never reach out to, or hardly ever reach out to, just to call and have a conversation. They're busy, I'm busy, and stuff like that. So this is really good chance for me to continue having relationships with these great people in the industry. And there's always going to be more coming from it. So I'm excited to have the podcast selfishly, but I also think it's going to bring a lot of value to the listener too. Another great thing about podcasts is, it might bring a follower of Duce Raymond, and they might see Malcolm's content, and then they go hang out and watch Malcolm's content. And I think that's amazing. That's what the community is all about. And building community, it just brings a more credibility to what we're doing. And I think that's really, really cool. And nowadays, there's so many ways you can use the content. You can listen to the whole podcast. You can see a short clip on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. You could just listen to it. You could watch it. There's so many options with the podcast. And I think it's going to be a great avenue for reaching more people and kind of connecting and educating more. So I'm excited about it. My final thoughts are that I really hope people enjoy the show, and I really hope that we get some feedback. So you guys let us know what is working, what isn't working, what you want more of. If you want me to interview anybody, at some point I'm definitely going to interview Uncle Dave. I've been thinking about that in the future, so I think that'll be a great conversation. And if there's, any feedback at all, I think that would be my final thoughts is, we're going to continue this podcast and we're going to get better, but we need your help to get there. So just let us know what you guys think you would like to see, and we'll do our best to continue producing great content. We're not going to stop Barbecue Like a Boss and any of the educational videos that we're doing. We're going to only excel there as well. So thanks for your time and thanks for listening. Anytime you guys like a video or leave a comment or even just watch it in its entirety, it means a lot to us. So appreciate your time and thank you very much.